Jai Gopi Jana Yashodanandana Braja Janarandana Yashodanandana Braja Janarandana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jai Radha Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjali Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradha Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradha Yashodanandana Braja Janarandana Jaya Shri Krishna Jaya Jaya Gopita Gada Sudha Vivasavadvigo Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Jaya Radha Damodar Radha Damodar Shri Radhe Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe. Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Prabhupada. नित्यलीला प्रविष्ट ओम जगच्चार्य गोत्र से कृष्ण कृपा से मूर्ति चरणारविंद भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद की ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की निताई गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वती व्यासं ततो जयामुदीरये। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवते उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी। Hare Krishna everyone. So we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, Chapter 4. Today is text 41. Kvachit kutpulakastushnim aste samsparsha nivritaha. Ananda pranayananda salilam milite kshanah. क्वचित् कुत्पुलकस्तूष्णीम् आस्ते संस्पर्श निवृतः अस्मान्द् सलिलमिलिते क्षणः क्वचित् कुत्पुलकस्तूष्णीम् आस्ते संस्पर्श निवृतः अस्मन्द् सलिलमिलिते क्षणः. If anybody would like to repeat, please go ahead. Word meaning. Kvachit, sometimes. Utpulakaha, with the hairs of body standing on end. Tushnim, completely silent. Aste, remains. Samsparshanivrittaha, feeling great joy by contact with the Lord. Aspanda, steady. Pranaya Ananda, due to transcendental bliss from a relationship of love. Salila, filled with tears. Amilita, half closed. Ekshanaha, whose eyes. Translation numbered by Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Sometimes, feeling the touch of the Lord's lotus hands, he became spiritually jubilant and remained silent, his hair standing on end and tears gliding down from his half-closed eyes because of his love for the Lord. Purport. When a devotee feels separation from the Lord, he becomes eager to see where the Lord is. And sometimes, when he feels pangs of separation, tears flow incessantly from his half closed eyes. As stated by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the Sikshashtaka, Yugayitam Nimeshena Chakshusha Pravishayitam. The word Chakshusha Pravirajtam refers to tears falling incessantly from the devotee's eyes. These symptoms, which appear in pure devotional ecstasy, were visible in the body of Prahlad Maharaj. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we can see how several symptoms are shown in the body of Prahlad Maharaj. And it's just not Prahlad Maharaj, we'll see that there are different symptoms are also shown by different devotees. Even when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was visiting Jagannath Puri first time, though he is Lord himself, but after having darshan of Lord Jagannath and hearing the holy name of the Lord, he was showing so many different symptoms. And by looking at those symptoms, many of them who doesn't know about Mahaprabhu, they wanted to check whether these symptoms are really happening or he is just showing like so many false sannyasis and sadhus are there in this world. They are showing their power or showing their emotion to attract people, to get attention from the people, especially in Kali Yuga. So they wanted to make sure that what we see these are transcendental symptoms in Mahaprabhu, whether it's original or not. So in that moment, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, all other very exalted devotees, they came and they performed the test, the checking, that the symptoms which is coming from Mahaprabhu, and then they confirm, no, this is real. The sadhu is not imitating something. And also, it happens many times with the devotees that when they're having darshan of their lordship, by looking at the beautiful form of the Lord, which is nicely decorated by the pujaris, they also feel so joyful. And in that situation also, tears start flowing in their eyes. It happens many times. That is ecstasy, that is love for the Lord, which brought tears in their eyes. And and it is not acting like what the movie star or the stage performer they are doing by applying some chemicals in their eyes to bring tears. It is out of pure love for their Lordship. And to attain this love or coming to this platform, no one can imitate or no one can fake it. It's coming spontaneously from the bottom of the heart, which is dedicated towards their Lordship or to the great devotees. In my personal experience, there are so many times it happened that when the devotees will come in front of their Lordship, especially in Mayapur, and when they see Sri Srimad Radhamadava with eight Sakhis, they can't stop their tears. Or when they see Mahaprabhu Panchatattva or Prahlad Nrsimhadev, they can't stop crying. That is their love, that is their dedication, that is their seva. That's how they are connected with their Lordship. That connection is very, very important to make progress in devotional life. Unless we don't have any connection, unless we don't have any relationship with their Lordship, we can't make progress. We can't perform the devotional services. Even in our personal life, unless there is no connection, unless there is no relationship, unless there is no bondage, we cannot even serve our parents, our spouse, our kids. So, relationship is the main force which is making them to perform their prescribed duties. If the parents, or if the kids, or the spouses, if there is no bondage, there is no connection of love, they can't perform their duty. That is very important. And once you develop these feelings, this relationship with the Lord or with the family members, no need to remind you that you have to do these certain duties on certain day or certain time. People they are doing spontaneously, automatically. That is the beauty of the relationship. Similarly, here also, when Prahlad Maharaj seeing their lordship in front of him, he was just like a madman, start crying. And it's not just seeing up to their lordship. Sometimes this separation also brings these tears in the eyes. This eagerness when I'm going to see the Lord. That eagerness is also bringing tears in Prahlad Maharaj's eyes. And also in the devotees' cases also. And they say like when somebody is making a plan to visit some holy place and constantly doing meditation that how I will be there, what I'm gonna see, what I'm gonna do. Physically, maybe they are not there, but mentally, on a mental platform, they are already there, which is the beauty of devotional services. And to perform devotional services, there are so many stages are there by which a person can make progress to make advancement. Like we can see the pastimes of Narada Muni. In his previous life of Narada Muni, he was son of a maid servant. So there was nobody else in the family, just mother and son. And mother, she worked as a maid servant to the Brahmanas families to maintain herself and her son and her son's life. And during the rainy season, then when the work was less, they were serving to the traveling sadhus. Like in today's scenario, also many of the saintly persons during the Chaturmasya, they don't travel. They prefer to stay at one place to perform their own personal sadhana, which is also very much required by the individual sadhus. But Prabhupada had made the changes in the devotional services and do finish your personal sadhana early in the morning. The rest of the day you can perform other services which is beneficial for the rest of the humanity. I remember when the past times where Prabhupada, in those early days when Prabhupada were describing and teaching the disciples the importance of Ekadashi Prasad. What is the importance of Ekadashi and what we should cook for the Ekadashi. And Prabhupada had told them that devotee should not eat grain on Ekadashi. So one time Prabhupada came and it was Ekadashi day and he asked for his breakfast. So disciples they say, Prabhupada, you have told us that there should be no grain prasada for Ekadashi. And today's Ekadashi, so we didn't cook. Then Prabhupada showed them how to make wonderful preparation for their Lordship on the day of Ekadashi. Some of the disciples even say that why Prabhupada Ekadashi comes. twice in a month. Why not more than that? Because Ekadashi Prasadam is so opulent than the normal day Prasadam. And one time also happened that Prabhupada was asking and he was checking why the devotee didn't go out for the Harinam and book distribution. So they said, Prabhupada, today Ekadashi, no grain prasadam, so devotees they don't feel strong enough to go out and do Harinam and book distribution. Prabhupada said, go cook now grains, feed the devotee and send them for Harinam and book distribution. That is more important. So we can see how Prabhupada was setting new goal, new target, that devotional services are more important than personal sadhana or, or following so many other regulatory principles. Because in this yoga, already the human life, the span of human life is very short. So one should act in a such a way to utilize the maximum out of it. And if I'm not wrong, there was a famous quote from His Holiness Amal Krishna Maharaj: life is too short, so act now. So, and actually, the life is too short. We should act on every stage of the life and we should do something which will bring us more close to the devotees or more close to the Lord, the pure devotees of the Lord. By their mercy only we can make an advancement. So, like I was telling about Narada Muni's previous life. So his mother was a maid servant, and just mother and son, they have developed a very nice relationship. It was a very strong bondage in between them. And Narada was just 5 years old when his mother passed away. And one evening, when she was going to milk cow, she was bitten by a snake and she died immediately. So Narada Muni has no one else to take care of, and there was no one else to take care of Narada Muni. She was absolutely alone. But as he had a faith in Lord's service, so he started walking to find the absolute truth. And to attain Shraddha and Bhakti, two things are mainly required because before Shraddha is the very first step to make progress in a devotional services. Unless until no one has a faith cannot make progress. And the two elements which is required to develop the faith is kripa and seva, mercy and services, mercy from the pure devotee of the Lord and services to the pure devotee of the Lord. If one needs to make progress, any advancement, so kripa, mercy is very, very required from the pure devotee of the Lord. And that exactly what Narada Muni had developed as he was just a 5 years old. He was serving along with his mother to the visiting guest, means the Brahmanas or the devotee of the Lord. And in exchange, he was receiving their mercy. And as he was rendering his services to these all great Vaishnavas, he was developing more ecstasy, more love towards the devotional services. So these two things are very, very required, very, very important element to make progress. Without mercy, no one can make progress. When the devotee they are pleased by by the service, the blessings comes out automatically. So one should know whom to serve, whom to not serve also. Sometimes in this material world, in Kali Yuga, people they take advantage of the simple people and they keep asking, can you do this for me? Can you do this for me? Can you do this for me? One should do that. But one should also check by rendering these services, am I going to make any progress in this field, in the devotional path? There are services are always everywhere and for the nation, for the community, for for the state. So many other services are there. All services are beautiful. But if I wanted to make progress in my life towards devotional platform, I should select wisely which services I should choose, which services I should perform in my life. So the performance of services toward the great devotee to the pure devotee of the Lord is always beneficial. Like in Bengali, it says, Labhamatra sadhusanga sarva siddhi hoy. If we can get a chance to serve a pure devotee of the Lord, that very small movement of that service we are rendering to the pure devotee of the Lord will return in a huge amount we cannot even imagine that how the mercy of a devotee can make us so much progress in our devotional life. I would like to share a very small story which I remember at the moment. In Africa, the devotees were doing the book distribution and they are going to the villages from one village to another village. So while they were traveling, so they came to one village, it was very remote area. And to the surprise, one devotee he knocked at the door and he saw one lady open the door and she was in a tilak, in a Vaishnava tilak. And he was very much surprised because he didn't expect that in so remote area any devotee would be there. So this lady she invited the devotee to please come inside. And when he came inside, he was surprised to see that the room of her wall is filled with Lord Krishna, Prabhupada, all these pictures they were there. So he started asking, how come you came in a contact with the devotees and Srila Prabhupada mission and you have accepted Krishna consciousness? She said that I was working as a air hostess and one time Srila Prabhupada along with his disciples they were traveling. So the disciples they were asking if they can have some fruits which they can serve to Srila Prabhupada. So I served the fruit and I saw that old man, Prabhupada, he was eating pork rice from his plate. And without asking, I picked up one handful pork rice from his plate. And I could see the even disciples, they were surprised that how dare I am. So I took this pork rice from his plate and I started eating. And then the rest is history. I don't know how I started feeling that some different kind of emotions are there in my heart. And devotees, they also gave me Srila Prabhupada book, which I started reading. That's how I came in a contact in Krishna consciousness. So by by her previous birth, some piousness which encouraged her to take some remnant from Srila Prabhupada's plate. And that turns her life when she became a devotee. It was just It was just a very short meeting with Srila Prabhupada face to face. And rest of the preaching is done through his book and of course Srila Prabhupada's mercy through his remnant. It was just lava matra. Lava is a fraction of second. That fraction of second has changed her life. I also met one sannyasi. He has now his own society. I think they have also built one temple in Mayapur. That person was working as a on a very high post in some multinational company. He was, and he said that I was on such a higher post that whenever I had to travel, I was always flying, and I had no time for anything. And I was so much busy that I didn't focus on any other thing like getting married or having kids, this all thing. I was so much focused on my job. Job was my first priority. I had to make my own milestone, which people they will dream of. He was so much ambitious. So during his official tour one time, he had a long layover somewhere in the Middle East. And by that time, a devotee approached him with Bhagavad Gita. And he is from South India, from Brahmin family. And he said, and he said to himself, why do I need Bhagavad Gita? I'm from Brahmin family. This Bhagavad Gita already at my home. I don't have a time to read. But upon the request of this devotee, and he had much time to catch his flight, he said, okay, let me take this book. So I can spend by reading this book, so I can spend my time as the flight will as the flight is little delayed. Just to cover up that waiting period to catch his flight, he took Bhagavad Gita and started reading. And he said that I was so much in the reading of this Bhagavad Gita, I didn't realize when my flight came, when my name was announced to catch the flight, and when my flight took off. So he missed the flight. He was so much into reading the Bhagavad Gita. Then he started looking for where I can find the writer of this book. So in the backside of the Bhagavad Gita is the Juhu temple, Mumbai temples. Address was there. So he came to India to meet Srila Prabhupada. By that time, Srila Prabhupada already had winded up his Leela from this planet. He was very disappointed, but he started looking for the truth, and finally he took initiation from Gaudiya Math, and he gave up job and everything. Now he's a sannyasi, and his job is now preaching Krishna consciousness. So just reading the book, which is written by pure devotee of the Lord. So he associated Srila Prabhupada through the book, which is changes life entirely. So this is very important when anyone wanted to make progress. If when a sadhu is pleased, when a pure devotee of the Lord is pleased, we never know how the mercy will come in our life. So it is our duty to perform the devotional services to the pure devotee to the Lord to receive their mercy. By the mercy of sadhu, guru, and Vaishnava, anything one person can achieve in this life. Nothing is impossible. I can share another story how Srila Prabhupada had preached to one more person and his entire life is changed. A person for his business conference, he came to USA and the devotees they are doing the book distribution, so they offer him a Bhagavad Gita also, which was in English language. So the person he took Bhagavad Gita, okay, some sadhu is giving a holy book, let me take it. So, but he was Buddhist and from Myanmar. So he brought this book and then he realized that this book is useless to me. I'm not going to read it. So what he did, he gave that book to his friend who is a doctor. And the doctor, he took the book and he kept in a shelf in his office where he was in that office area where the patient they are waiting for their turn. So he had a bookshelf, so he along with so many other books, so he kept that Bhagavad Gita there. One day his son was visiting to his dad's office, doctors, and he was studying in school. Then he find there's a very big fat book which is in the English language. And as he was student, so he asked his father, Dad, can I take this book because this is in English and I wanted to make my English strong. And all my other books they are very small, but this book is a very big, very fat. So maybe it will help me to improve my English. And that book was Bhagavad Gita. After reading the Bhagavad Gita, his heart, his thought, everything is changed. And now that person is preaching Krishna consciousness in Myanmar. And if I'm not wrong, he already have opened 4 center in Myanmar. So just one book, Bhagavad Gita again, his life is changed. So Prabhupada preached him. Prabhupada gave his association through Bhagavad Gita by the teachings. So the mercy, as he was ready to accept mercy from the pure devotee of the Lord, which is in a book, and service is reading Bhagavad Gita with full faith has did the magic. Like we are doing book distribution throughout the world. Millions and millions of books we have distributed. And millions of jivas, they come in a contact with Krishna consciousness through mercy of the pure devotee, Srila Prabhupada. That is so magical. Like people sometimes they ask that, what is the magic Srila Prabhupada have done? This is the magic. His association through the books, his teaching and preaching through the book is changing people's life and helping them to make progress towards devotional platform. And one can make also changes in their life and they can help also other people to make development in their life. That is the magic by Srila Prabhupada. It is so beautiful that how Vaishnavas are so merciful that without knowing anyone personally, they eager to share their experience. They are eager to help them to make progress. Prabhupada has created such a wonderful society that through this society, one can bring the entire world under one roof. So everybody can make progress in their life. And this all is coming through the disciplic succession started from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Jare dakho tare kaho Krishna upadesh, amar agya guru hoiya taro ek desh. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Lord Nityananda, they are so merciful towards each and every living entity. Even Lord Nityananda, when he was hurt by Jagai and Madhai, and he was bleeding, and by looking at that, Mahaprabhu became very angry and he was just going to call Sudarshan Chakra. Then Nityananda was requesting, please, my Lord, don't do this. In this avatar, you are Mahavadanyaya, you are most merciful. Jagai and Madhai, they are ignorant. They don't know, they don't realize what they have done. But it's only your mercy which can deliver them from these all material calamities. But if we look on personal basis, suppose if I'm traveling and any particular seat is reserved for me in my name, and if somebody is already sitting there, how we are dealing with this stranger? You are my seat. You have to leave now. This is reserved for me. I paid extra money to reserve this seat. Isn't it? We are showing our attitude, we are showing our power, we are showing our control. This is my seat. It is reserved in my name. But Lord Nityananda is giving practical example. If somebody is making mistake, we should show our gratitude, we should show our love and compassion in a such a way that person will surrender to me. And the result, Jagai and Madhai, they were feeling so pity on themselves, on their behavior. They immediately surrendered. They understood that we could be killed any moment. But as he was so merciful to us, our life is saved. So the mercy of the devotee is very, very important to make progress. Mercy and rendering services, they are the very chief element which can help to make progress in their life. That's why in every morning we are asking forgiveness from all the Vaishnavas, whatever we have done. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha. Because this Ananta Koti Vaishnava, we don't know that how we are making offense to someone. Because our understanding, our knowledge is so limited that sometimes we don't realize by doing something, it can offend some other devotees. That's why this forgiveness, asking for the forgiveness is very, very important. And also is brought down our false ego, which is one of the main obstacles to make progress, this false ego. If we will let the ego to go, we can make progress rapidly. But this false ego is just like an anchor of the shape of, no, sorry, anchor of a boat, which not letting the boatman to make any progress. We have to let this anchor go. That is ego. As long as we are captivated by the chain of ego, we can't make any progress. And this to break this chain of ego is surrenderness, the service attitude, which is making people humble without being compassionate, without being humble. No one can render any service. So these are the elements which is making a people to make advancement in their life. It is very important. I would like to stop here. If anyone would like to add something, you are welcome. Please, you can unmute your mic and you can put your comment or whatever you wanted to add to this point. Thank you.